Hey, I'm Jamie, and we're back. So while the body shell dries from the um, dull coat on it, I'm going to start working on the body, the power drive, or the powertrain, whatever you want to call it, the chassis of the GE 44 tonner. We're already removed off the side trucks of it, and what I like to do, when you get a lot of these used model trains, you don't know how long it's set up, how long they've ran, and there's a lot of kind of little maintenance issues. Since I already had it tore down, I just recommend go ahead and do a thorough cleaning and lubrication of the chassis, and that's what we're going to do today. So the first things first, I'm going to use one of my prep pads here, and what I want to do is to take it, and you can see the pickups is on the side here, and basically they rub against the wheels on each side. I want to actually start the locomotive. We already have the wires cut on it, but what I'm going to do is I have a power supply, adjustable power supply. I'm going to turn it up to about 9 to 10 volts and hook up my DC clips to the motor. That would get the locomotive moving. Alright, I'm about 9.5 volts, so I should be able to put the clips on. And me and these things kind of have a love-hate relationship. I like them, but sometimes they don't want to clip on and stay as well as I like it. So there we go. The locomotive is moving, and I can take my alcohol pad, unfold it, and the key is to get it under the wheel. There we go, behind the pickup, under the wheel and in front of the pickup. Alright, and you can see that because there was some gunk there, and we'll repeat it the next one on the next wheel. Alright, as you can see, there's stuff coming off of it. Don't use the same spot. I'm going to repeat the same thing over here. So now we have our pickups cleaned up. Next thing I would like to go ahead and do is clean the wheels. For that, I'm just going to use some Q-tips, and again the IPA alcohol, 91%. Dip my Q-tip in, and I'm just going to hold it on the wheels since they're so accessible right now. And we can see the gunk that we're getting from the wheels. We'll repeat the process on this one. So now they've got to clean up. I'm going to apply a little bit of what is called deoxit. I think that's the name of it. I don't have any stock in this company. You can use whatever you want to. I just use it because, well, I like using it. I'm just going to put a drop here on my glass top, for a little bit easier to pick up. I'm not going to put it in my paint tray because it is a little bit oily and you don't need much of this at all. And using one of my super small brushes. This is just a disposable brush. I'll probably reuse this a couple times before I actually throw it away. I'm just going to kind of dip it into the deoxit and come under the wheel. And deoxit is it's a little bit of a lubricant, and also it's a contact cleaner. You don't need much of it. I put way too much out here. This stuff lasts forever. It's rather expensive, but it helps clean dirty contacts and keeps them clean. I really recommend this stuff. Alright, that side's done. I can flip it over and do the same thing on this side. Yeah. There we go. There we go. So we're done with that. I keep these in a little plastic bag. They don't get dirty because we cleaned it. And I'll just reuse that black brush with the deoxit. So that brings us to our next step here. You can play with them on the table, but it's going to be lubricating the motor. Let's stop it for a second. So a couple key parts that I'm going to lubricate is going to be the main worm gears that go down to the other gears into the drive mechanism that makes the wheels move around, and I'm going to do some light lubrication on the dog bones. These kind of move just a little bit. You don't need much. What I'm going to do is come back with some Labelle 102, and I'm just going to put a small drop on top of each one of these. And again, just a small drop. I'm not a big fan of people who over oil their trains. It just leaks and it attracts dirt and dust, and it's not really good for your train engines. So we applied that. I'm going to slow down my thing. I'm running at 9 volts. There we go. So I brought it down to about 6 volts, and I'm not going to tear apart the gears inside to get it fully lubricated under it. Usually when you put the gear oil on as the gears rotate, and you can go to most auto parts stores, they have kind of set up where you can actually turn this little crank. This is clear plastic glass, and you see that the bigger wheel at the bottom will pick up the oil, and it gets transmitted to all the other sprockets, all the other gears inside of it. And oil kind of works that way. You don't need to actually get too down in it in most cases. So as this running, I'm going to use the Labelle 106. It's more like a grease for the gears, and I'm just going to do a very small drop on it and repeat it over here. All right, and finally, I'm going to stop it for a second, and where the dog bones are, I'm going to do a small drop also on each side of it. rotate that one so I can actually see it. Right, and I'm going to turn it back on to make sure that gets moved all the way through. And I'm just going to let it run for a little bit. Go ahead and turn up my voltage back up to 9 volts. One of the things you may have noticed, maybe you can hear it, maybe you can't, I can definitely hear it. After doing the lubrication, the engine is remarkably more quieter. Before we had a more to it, now it's a more controlled, it's not as loud. Let's just put it that way. My current consumption is also way down on the Locomotive. It started about 100 milliamps. It's just free running like it is. After I did my lubrication here, it's running about 60 milliamps. So that's a good reduction in there just by applying just a little bit of oil. You increase the performance of your locomotives. So I'm just going to hold it and let it run for a little bit more. The only other thing I'll say when you actually oil these is to get oil down inside your motors, especially where the brushes are. That could really mess up your motor. So I would try to avoid the motor area if all possible. The only other place, and we'll stop it, I would probably do a drop of oil is the front where the shaft comes into it, and where the shaft leaves the motor, just a small drop. And then really just touching it with it. And then the shaft on the back of it here. Alright. And with that, we can start this back up and run it. And what I would do, I'll have a test track up there. After I'm done with this, I'll put it up on the test track and run it on the rollers for about 15 minutes or so, just to make sure everything gets coated in there correctly, everything's lubricated, and everything's clean. Is a great, like I say, for me it's a great idea. But if you already have it tore apart, just go ahead and do it. You'll thank me for it later. I've rushed through jobs before where it's just like, oh, I'll do it at the end and I never come back to it. 3 months later, the locomotive is acting up, not picking up current, just a bunch of other problems with it. And after a good cleaning, it works okay. If I'd done that to start with, I wouldn't have the headaches 3 months later. So again, I can't emphasize this enough on the lubrication, just a little bit. Not really even a drop. Really, in most cases, you can just touch the tip with a little bit of pressure on there, or use one of the brushes to apply the lubricant on it. Too much lubricant actually is not good. It attracts dirt and actually increases your wear. And this completes it for this locomotive. Again, I'm going to put it up on my test track and let this run for 15 minutes. Just make sure everything's all right, and that will cover it for the day. The next item we're coming up on this would be adding the 3D printed side trucks. I redesigned the side trucks. I'm going to have them here for the next episode to put those on there. I redid the side trucks so they're more of a rolling bearing design versus the friction bearing that this originally came with. I figured a locomotive has been rebuilt, probably has more of the modern standard roller bearing designs. I found some images online also verify this. So I'm not just pulling that out of nowhere. I usually do in most cases, but in this case I'm not. It's kind of a funny thing in the model railroading world. They said, oh, is there a prototype with it? And more than likely, if you look hard enough and know where to look, you can find a prototype, because the railroad is very famous for keeping things running for a long time and utilizing cost-saving measures when applicable. So, again, if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. Stay tuned for when we put the new side trucks on this. This is actually going to really increase the appearance of this one. We have the body drying, and we're going to start putting everything together and get the DCC decoder ready. So a lot of exciting items coming up. So again, subscribe to the channel, and until next time, I hope everybody has a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.